move here would have been either to just ignore or to say no, and then everybody would have moved on with their life. But instead, it turned into her invoking victim status, which, rallies the base. There's no question folks in the media are very excited about this. If you look at the leftist response to her tweet, it's Ocasio-Cortez responds the way every Democrat should respond to anybody on the right who wants to have a discussion. And then they wonder why more Americans are turning away from the intersectional left than ever.
Yeah, Ben,
what happens when a conservative challenges a socialist to a real debate? And she calls it catcalling. That's exactly what happened when Ben Shapiro offered AOC $10,000, not for himself, but for her campaign, just to talk about the issues. And instead of saying yes, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez ran from the challenge and played the victim card. This moment exposed everything wrong with the modern left: fear of facts, rejection of debate, and pure hypocrisy. Stay right here, because we're breaking down exactly why AOC refused to face the truth.
I'd love to have a real conversation with you about the issues. You've noted you think Republicans are afraid to debate you or talk to you or discuss the issues with you. Not only am I eager to discuss the issues with you, I'm willing to offer $10,000 to your campaign today.
Wow. All right. First, the challenge, and then the rejection. Conservative commentator Ben Shapiro calling for a debate with Democratic Socialist Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. He wants to debate her. He wants to debate her on the issues. The New York congressional candidate taking issue with Ben Shapiro, tweeting out, "Just like catcalling, I don't owe a response to unsolicited requests from men with bad intentions." And also, like catcalling, for some reason, they feel entitled to one. Whoa, all right. We called Ocasio-Cortez and we asked her to come on the show. She has yet to respond. But you know who did respond? None other than Ben Shapiro for his first interview since that tweet. Ben, it's good to see you.
Good to see you.
Making
First of all,
a lot
I
of news
just
here.
want to know quickly.
She's making news with you here. Go ahead.
Yeah, quick comment. First of all, how dare you catcall Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez by inviting her on your show? I mean, how dare you? That's sexism in action right there.
Yeah, apparently. What do you think of that, though? I mean, to use that term, which, that's just to remind everyone, a woman's walking down the street and someone, whistles or something, that's catcalling. How is what you did, asking her to have an intellectual debate on the actual issues, how is that in any way relevant or similar to a catcall?
Catcalling must be very weird in Queens. I don't know if they're like construction workers standing on street corners and shouting to women, "Hey, baby, want to have an hour-long public conversation about trade policy and the vagaries of Viennese economics versus neo-Marxist economics?" It gets strange in her district, apparently. But again, this is so many folks on the left jumping to a sort of intersectional defense in which anybody who requests a discussion or a debate must be evil by their very nature, right? I'm a man, therefore I am catcalling her, even though as an Orthodox Jew, I have never catcalled a woman in my entire life. It's catcalling because I guess if I suggest that I want to have a conversation, I'm demanding a response. Well, every request is a request. All she had to say here was, nah, that would have been fine. I mean, she's got that prerogative, but she goes around talking about how...
I mean, that's part of our platform,
absolutely.
Right? Everybody's a victim, and we need to take as much money as we can from everybody else to redistribute it. That's what socialism is about. So is she just playing that victim card?
No question. And the fact that she feels the necessity to go to this particular card, right, to play the I'm a female and therefore I'm being victimized, this is like catcalling. The fact she goes there, instead of just saying, you know what, I'm not interested in debate, the reason she didn't say the latter is because she didn't want to look like she was afraid. And she's been going around on the Internet suggesting that people like Ali Stuckey are afraid of her when they make satire about her, or that people on the right are deeply afraid of her perspective. And then the minute that somebody says, you know what, I'm willing to have a discussion or a debate with you, and not only that, just to make it worth your time, I'll give money to charity or your campaign, then it's all of a sudden catcalling if you suggest such a thing. It's pretty amazing.
Well, I first saw that, and it didn't even make sense to me because of the use of the word catcall and the fact that you actually were asking her to have a civil conversation and a real debate. But she's not going to do it. Why do you think she's not going to do it, Ben?
Well, I mean, I don't think there's a lot of upside for her, to be frank. I mean, if she were to get into a discussion with somebody who asks her tough questions, I don't think she has the information or the philosophy at her disposal to actually answer those questions well. And she knows that, which is why her best move here would have been either to just ignore or to say no, and then everybody would have moved on with their life. But instead, it turned into her invoking victim status, which, rallies the base. There's no question folks in the media are very excited about this. If you look at the leftist response to her tweet, it's Ocasio-Cortez responds the way every Democrat should respond to anybody on the right who wants to have a discussion. and then they wonder why more Americans are turning away from the intersectional left than ever?
Yeah, Ben, one of the things that has always made us great is an appreciation for some kind of intellectual diversity, right? Being able to have civil debates, being able to share ideas. I mean, that's how we evolve. That's how we get better. But when one side isn't even willing to have the conversation, where does that leave us as a country?
Yeah, that is the serious problem. And what's absurd is there are a bunch of folks on the left who responded to this entire controversy by tweeting at me. These are mainstream left commentators saying, well, why don't you have me on your show? And I was like, okay. And they didn't really know how to respond to that because I'm happy to have conversations with the folks on the left. I have conversations with folks on the left all the time. The left just doesn't want to open the Overton window enough to have conversations with anybody on the right.
Yeah, well, because they automatically assume they're right, you're wrong. And they don't want to be proven otherwise with any kind of factual knowledge. I mean, look, I think if you go out and you ask anyone, and you know this better than Americans believe in opportunity, right, and prosperity. It's just in our DNA. It's part of what this country was founded on. But you go around the world, and whether you're talking about Venezuela, or you're talking about Cuba, you're even talking about Denmark, where they charge well over 50% in taxes at the federal rate. So everybody's working for the government, where you pay 180% tax on a car, which is more than the cost of a car. Or, you go to college and get a stipend. They plan on 5 years, but everybody's taking 6+ years because you're being paid to go to a free college. It shows you, when you look at their debt levels, even in Denmark, it just doesn't work, does it?
Well, I mean, this is the serious problem with a lot of socialist philosophy, is that they're constantly shifting the goalposts. Is it that their education system is good, or their healthcare system is good? Or is it that all of these systems are built atop a capitalist edifice that made these countries prosperous in the first place? And these are the conversations that actually should be had. Yeah. But Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is not interested in having them, obviously.
Hey, by the way, let me ask you about the harassment of conservative commentators. Charlie Kirk, Candace Owens, what did you think about that one?
Well, I mean, obviously, that was insane. And I told Charlie I feel lucky that I eat in kosher restaurants where most of the people who are around me are members of my community, because I'd like to be able to get through a meal in peace. Apparently, Charlie and Candace cannot.
Well, Ben, I'll tell you one thing. Had you debated her, my money's on you.
Well, it would have been fun. Would have been fun. Oh, well.
All right. Thank you so much. It's good to see you. Thank you for being here.
You too.
First.
Hey, everyone. Welcome back to A Listen Reacts. Before we dive in, make sure you smash that like button, hit subscribe, and turn on the notification bell, because today we're talking about one of the most ridiculous moments in modern American politics. You've probably seen it. Ben Shapiro challenges Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez to a debate, and what does she do? She calls it catcalling. Yeah, you heard that right. So let's break this down, because this isn't just a story about one debate challenge. This is a perfect snapshot of how the modern left operates: emotional deflection, victimhood, and total fear of actual discussion. Now, Ben Shapiro, love him or hate him, offered AOC $10,000. Not for himself, not for his show, but for her campaign or charity of choice. That's a classy move. It's a serious offer, and it shows confidence. But instead of saying no thanks or actually standing up to debate her ideas, AOC fires off a tweet comparing it to catcalling. According to her, asking a sitting congresswoman to defend her socialist ideas in public is the same thing as whistling at her on the street. That's the level of political discourse we're dealing with today. Ben's reaction was pure gold. He said, "Catcalling must be very weird in Queens. I've never heard of construction workers asking women for an hour-long debate about trade policy." And he's absolutely right. Let's be honest here. AOC didn't back out because she was offended. She backed out because she was afraid. She didn't want to be exposed. She didn't want to sit across from someone who could dismantle her talking points with facts, logic, and reason. And that's the deeper issue. The left loves to accuse conservatives of being scared of ideas, yet every time someone like Shapiro or Jordan Peterson offers to debate, they vanish. They hide behind words like toxic masculinity, harassment, or catcalling. It's not just cowardice, it's strategy. They play the victim to avoid accountability. They twist every challenge into an act of aggression. Because if they actually had to defend socialism, if they had to explain why Venezuela collapsed, why Cuba is starving, or why Denmark's taxes crush productivity, their entire ideology would crumble. And that's exactly why AOC ran from this debate. She knows that when you strip away the emotional rhetoric, socialism doesn't work. It never has. It never will. You can't keep promising free stuff when you have no plan to pay for it. You can't call capitalism evil while using iPhones, wearing designer clothes, and fundraising online. It's hypocrisy, plain and simple. Ben Shapiro nailed it when he said the left doesn't want to widen the Overton window. They don't want open discussion because they know what happens when the truth gets out. People start to wake up. And that's why channels like this one are so important. Because we refuse to stay silent. We refuse to be bullied by political correctness. We still believe in debate, in facts, in freedom of speech, and in America's founding principles. AOC didn't turn down Ben Shapiro. She turned down accountability. And every time the left runs from a real conversation, they prove once again that their ideas can't survive in the light. So tell me what you think. Should AOC have accepted the debate? Do you think she's genuinely afraid of facing conservative arguments head-on? Drop your thoughts down below. I read every single comment. And before you go, don't forget, if you love your country, if you still believe in truth and open debate, hit that like button, subscribe, and share this video with your friends. Because together, we're going to keep exposing the hypocrisy, the double standards, and the fear driving the radical left. This is a Listen Reacts. Stay loud, stay free, and I'll see you in the next one.